Now, this is the latest attempt from the government to try and resolve what has become a really significant crisis. Well, Giles Grover from Manchester Gladiators is with us this morning. Good morning, Giles.
Hi.
You've got a meeting with Michael Gove later today alongside campaigners from across the UK. What points will you be making to him and what do you hope to get out of the meeting more broadly?
So the first thing to do is to thank him for the fact that he's only been 4 months in the job and he seems to have got a lot further along than his predecessor has. There is more funding. We know it's a complex challenge, but the fact is that he's made a start. We will also be letting him know politely where we think there are still gaps and what more he needs to do.
Now, we are expecting this package of measures worth perhaps up to £4 billion, but there are of course many caveats, many nuances to that, and it's unlikely to cover what we call non-cladding faults. So just explain that and what that means for leaseholders.
Yeah, so we started off as End Our Cladding Scandal, the national campaign. For the last 2 years we've been saying it, the government knows it, Mr Gove knows it, the Prime Minister, the Chancellor knows that there's a lot more issues beyond cladding. We know that he's made a start, but we've got problems in terms of internal compartmentation, balconies. There's buildings below 11 metres that are being told to remediate as well. So he still doesn't have a grip of the full crisis, but it's a good start. However, you can't make buildings half safe and people are still trapped, unfortunately.
So leaseholders would still have to find the money to pay for those problems. There might be funding for the cladding, but actually they still have to find the funding themselves for the other problems.
Yeah. Some analysis that was done last year saw that that was about half of the overall cost. So it might be that he'll be providing more certainty on risk prioritisation, so that work doesn't need to be done. As it stands, it still needs to be done. People are still going to have to fork out tens of thousands of pounds, unfortunately.
And the other issue is the wider impact on the housing market. It's estimated 3 million flats are currently unsellable. Lenders are asking for these expensive fire safety certificates when they're perhaps not needed. There's a shortage of fire engineers to carry that out. So what are you hoping Mr Gove may do to restore confidence to the industry, to get lenders lending again?
Yeah, there needs to be certainty for residents, for leaseholders, and certainty for the housing market. We've seen flat sales fall completely off the cliff, so the government's still kind of relying a little bit too much on industry, telling the mortgage providers, telling the lenders, telling the insurers, telling the surveyors in silos, you should do a little bit here. We need a coordinated, holistic approach, and we need more of a centralised approach so that there's an independent body that says you definitely need to do this work or you don't need to do this work. Then we might be actually making some progress.
Giles Grover from Manchester Gladiators, always good to speak to you. Thank you very much. Now, what's not clear at this stage is how the government plans to pressure developers into paying up. We know there will be no new money from the Treasury, so if Mr Gove is unsuccessful in recouping that money from the construction sector, then it will come out of existing departmental budgets. So that could mean less money for levelling up, less money for home building. So we await further details on that announcement, which we expect to be made in the Commons later this afternoon.
Sarah, thank you. Yeah, it sounds like the residents won't fully be celebrating just yet, does it? Sarah Corker in Manchester.